Hello friends. So today's session is on the topic labor legislation. So today I will discuss about the introduction of labor legislation, and I will discuss like a story so that you remember it, because whenever we hear something like a story we always remember. So let us start labor legislation. So कोई भी स्टोरी शुरू करने से पहले हमें पता होना चाहिए इसका पर्पस. So labor legislation, the name suggests labor legislation means labor laws. So what is the need? What was the need for which these labor laws were enacted? So first of all, let us discuss that. The first point is, see, before the labor laws, let us discuss that scenario when there were no labor laws. When there were no labor laws, then when there were no conditions set by the government on the wages, on the working conditions, on the bonus, on what pay has to be there. So there were no regulations. So employers were free to give any payment. There were no criterias. There was no obligation on the employers to give a minimum, you can say, wage, and also to give a good working condition. So there were no obligation on the employers. So there were a lot of exploitation which was happening for especially for the lower class. So to remove that or to lower that exploitation, the concept of labor legislation came into picture. So that is the purpose why these labor laws came into picture. Now the second point here which I want to discuss is principles of labor legislation. So to all the viewers, whoever is interested, I will send you one summary sheet of all things which I am discussing, so that you can refer to it, that I can send later on. So first is why labor laws. Now the second point is principles. What are the principles of labor legislation? So the first principle is social justice. So we need to maintain that social justice, that there is no exploitation, to minimize that exploitation. So that is the first social justice. Economic justice, so that every worker, every person who is working for someone gets a fair wage, gets a wage as per his work. So that is called economic justice. So to achieve that also is another principle of labor legislation. The third principle of labor legislation is achieving our main objective of directive principles of state policy. If you know, this directive principles of state policy is part of our constitution. So, and what is the main objective of this directive principle of state policy in the constitution? To make our state or our country a welfare country, a welfare state. So it is imbibed in our constitution that we have to take measures for the welfare of the country, for the welfare of everyone. So to implement those things which are imbibed in constitution, that is also one principle of labor legislation. So these are the three major principles of labor legislation. Now I will talk about another important aspect of this topic, labor legislation, is who will make these laws. We have discussed why, we have discussed principles. Now let us discuss who will make these laws. Now you must be having some clue who make the laws. Either state government can make the laws or central government can make the laws. So both have the power to make the laws. And if you have any idea, there are subjects mentioned in union list on which center can make the laws, and specifically there are subjects mentioned in the concurrence list on which the laws can be made. So right now the point is, which I want to discuss, that both can make the laws. Then how the things will go. So there are four categories here. First is central government will make the law, and central government will enact and enforce also. Enforce means उसको implement भी कर देगा. उसी की ड्यूटी है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ही लॉ बनाएगा और वही इम्प्लीमेंट करेगा. ये पहली कैटेगरी. दूसरी कैटेगरी है कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट विल मेक एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट विल इम्प्लीमेंट. द थर्ड इज central government will make and both central and state will implement. So the fourth is center is making and only state is implementing. So all these four permutations can work, but under no scenario state will do anything which is in conflict with the central government. So here the laws can be made like this. So now and another point which I have mentioned on my board on this topic is I want to discuss on ILO. This is an International Labour Organization which was enacted in 1919. And why it was enacted? What was the purpose? See, the laws are there, central government or state government making laws for the welfare of the labor. What is the need of International Labour Organization? So the need was set up so that uniformly, because states can have their own laws, so that there are some uniform practices which can be implemented throughout the different states of the entire, not only one country, among the different countries. So International Labour Organization was enacted in 1919 to set up some standards, and based on those standards the government will make their own laws. That was the major purpose of ILO. So now the next point which I want to mention here is that ILO has how many members? 56 members. 28 members are from the ILO itself, that is from the government. So 28 members are from the government, and rest 28, out of those 28, 14 are from the employer side. So it will be a mix of employers. They will choose different employers to be in that segment, and similarly 14 from the labor segment. So labor will also represent, employer will also represent, and government will also represent. So here comes another point, 3 important actors in this whole scenario of labor legislation. Like in a movie we always have a hero, a heroine, and a villain. So similarly in this movie of labor legislation, you will have government, you will have employer, and you will have workman or worker or employee. So so now what are the areas where normally this International Labour Organization puts their points across and puts the guidelines? So there are some areas, there are a lot of areas, but there are some important areas. One is working conditions, another is health, safety, welfare, and social security. So these are the different areas, and there are much more, but I am just telling you the important ones. So these are the different areas on which ILO make some standards, and based on that our government make laws. So I think now by this introduction you get to know why the need of labor legislation, who are making the laws, what are the principles of labor legislation, and what is this ILO all about. Now I will talk about the whole I want to summarize the entire structure of labor legislation, and in the coming sessions I will discuss one law in detail with the current picture. So that will be coming up in this series. So let us summarize. So there are laws for different categories which are made by the government. First category is laws related to industrial relations. First is that. Second is laws related to wages. Just try to remember what I am saying. Laws related to industrial relations, laws related to wages. Third is laws related to equality and empowerment of women. And the fourth is laws related to social security. And the fifth category is other laws. There are a lot of labor laws, but I will summarize these 4 categories first. So the first category, as I said, laws related to industrial relations. As the name suggests, industrial relations. Those who are from the HR side and from the IR side, they must have some idea that the industrial relation is the relation between the employer and the workman in the industry itself, in the organization itself. The relations between them, and these relations are very, very important. To smoothen these relations, to have very powerful relations, better the relation, better is the productivity, better is the output of the organization, both for the employer and for the employee. So these laws, first the laws related to IR, industrial relations, purpose is to improve the relations. First of all, purpose is to improve the relations between these two parties. So I have summarized in these three laws related to IR, three laws. One is Trade Union Act 1926, second Industrial Employment Standing Order Act 1946, थर्ड इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट एक्ट 1947. तीन एक्ट्स आए इसमें आपके आईआर के. कौन से? ट्रेड यूनियन 1926 में, स्टैंडिंग ऑर्डर 1946 में और इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट एक्ट 1947 में. हम ये एक एक करके अच्छी तरह करेंगे. अभी थोड़ा सा आप आइडिया ले लो. ट्रेड यूनियन नेम ही बता रहा है. ट्रेड यूनियन आपको थोड़ा सा आइडिया होगा. कंपनी में बिकॉज जो वर्कर की जो बार्गेनिंग पावर होती है वो लो होती है और जो एम्प्लॉयर की स्ट्रांग होती है. जस्ट टू मेक देयर बार्गेनिंग पावर स्ट्रांग दे यूनाइट themselves and make a trade union so that they can bargain more effectively with the employer. So the prime objective of trade union is to bargain more effectively for their rights. So this law lists down all the formalities which are required to be done to make a trade union. What are the rights of a recognized trade union? How the process happens. So the entire details are in this act. So that is first. Second, Industrial Employment Standing Order Act 1946. So this act major purpose is to list down all the terms and conditions of the employment. See, for any organization, terms and conditions of employment needs to be listed. So this act summarizes what are the different areas on which the terms and conditions needs to be mentioned. Basically it gives you a model kind of a standing order based on which an organization can make their own standing order. So very, very important labor law, so that there is no dispute when the things are listed, when it is mentioned on each and every important aspect of life of worker or employee, like based on their safety, based on for their wages, how for their attendance, all the procedures are listed in that standing order. So the conflict will not be there and it can always be revised with time to time. Third is Industrial Dispute Act. Again, here the prime motto is to resolve the conflict. See, conflict is one thing. Whenever there are people working together, there will be conflict. So to resolve that conflict is a very, very beautiful act, Industrial Dispute Act. So I think I decided to make it around 13 to 14 minutes video today. So this is the first session on labor legislation. In the next session, I will summarize the next 3 areas of laws which I think you can remember. First is, which I have just shared, laws related to IR. We have laws related to wages. We have laws related to empowerment of women, and we have laws related to social security. And I will summarize, and then we will discuss all these labor laws in detail. I hope you have got some clarity on the overview, and every day I will be discussing with you. And please give your feedback about the quality of the session, and we'll look forward to meet you again soon. Thank you very much.